This is a Louie T Network exclusive.
Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Draft Zone.
Who else could it be? Me, Dormy, Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on this program, 2016 NFL Draft Wrap-Up Series, where I aim to break down all 32 teams in the National Football League's 2016 NFL Draft, looking at each and every selection made by said team in the draft using our baseball grade scale, single, double, triple, home run. There are no strikeouts here in the Draft Wrap-Up Series. We cannot tell how these players are going to pan out. I don't want to discount any of these young men before they get their chance in the National Football League. And so we'll get a score for each and every single player, add those scores up, apply bonuses when necessary, divide by the number of picks made by said team in this draft, and that will yield us an overall grade for that team's draft. Move on to the next team in the series picked by you. That's right, you the viewer out there in total control, as this is the up format or the you pick format, where you are in total control by simply being the first, not the second, not the third, not the so forth and so on person, but the first to leave a comment in the comment section of this and future videos in this series stating two things: the phrase next and the team you'd like to see next. I don't care how you phrase it, as long as those two components are in the comment section and you're first, you're going to be next in the series, and that team that you want to see is going to be next up in this series. So, sound easy enough? That's because it is, man. Okay, don't make this thing harder than what it is, because it's not hard. And because of you out there, the next team up in this series is none other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's funny that I look at this organization, and for years, it was a cheap organization, and you felt like they didn't do things necessarily the right way. But now all of a sudden, they're willing to spend. Been a little bit of a turnover last few years, and general manager still intact. Jason Light's still there making some decisions, but Lovie Smith's gone, and they came in together. So you've seen a little bit of turnover with the coaching staff. But the good thing is, the guy that took over was already on this staff. Dirk Cutter was your offensive coordinator. You've got a young budding star at the quarterback position, so he's not going to be having a new system and scheme that he's going to have to learn. And so you feel like the change should be pretty easy, nice transition, smooth, all of that good stuff. But it seems like this team is missing something, or maybe a couple parts. And so we look at this 2016 NFL draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you see maybe you're going to fill in some of the blanks that last year kept you from making the postseason. Remember, at one point in the year, this Buccaneers team was 6-6, and finally the dam broke, and they lost the final 4 games of the season and finished 6-10. So let's look at the 2016 NFL draft of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, first round, 11th overall selection, Florida cornerback Vernon Hargreaves III is the selection. You know how I feel about this guy. I've talked about him, been gushing about him just about all process long. And this is a guy that comes in, and the Buccaneers traded back. Remember, they actually held the 9th overall selection, traded back a couple of spots, allowed the Chicago Bears to come up and get their guy in Georgia linebacker, Floyd. And so, Leonard Floyd. And so, I look at this pick and I say, hey, got you a little bit of value, and you traded back and picked up a couple picks. So I love the way that the Buccaneers went about this. Traded back and still got the guy that they were probably going to select all along. So really love the selection. I love the value. I love the guy that they're getting on this team. And Vernon Hargreaves III to me is the best pure corner in this draft. Though his measurables don't stack up to the likes of Eli Apple or a William Jackson III or one of those type of guys, but what he lacks in sheer size, like those guys have, 6 feet, 6'1", he clearly makes up in athleticism and the skill, the ability to make plays on the football, quick twitch, the ability to plant and drive on the football, no wasted motion, smooth transition from back pedal to full out sprint. I mean, all of the things that you look for in a corner, this guy has it. Okay, aside from the 6'1" frame with the long arms, but this guy can go up and get the football. He's got explosiveness. There's some things that I feel like he can improve upon. There's some things that are limitations that he can't help, like long distance speed. I don't think he necessarily has that. So it is important, it is imperative that this guy have his technique be as sound as it is. And that's one thing you're getting is a sound technician. The thing I worry about with him, eye discipline, of course. With a lot of these aggressive corners, you're going to get that. But if this guy can figure it out, put it all together, you got the best corner in the draft right here at 11 in Tampa Bay in Vernon Hargreaves III. And I feel like this is a guy that's going to come out day one for you and ball, put him in the right positions to succeed. And this is a guy that's going to go out and help you shorten the field, get you some turnovers, get you off the field on some third down situations. And in time, eventually, I feel like he's good enough to help you cut the field in half because teams are going to try to stay away from him if at all possible. So this is the kind of guy I think you got in the first round. Some fans may not see it. I absolutely love this pick. I've already broken him down in the Draft Prospects 101 series, so I'm not going to do that here. But what I will tell you is you just got probably the best ready-to-go cornerback in this draft in the first round at pick number 11 with Florida cornerback Vernon Hargreaves III, who is also hit hard. He's hit deep. Out of hit. It's a home run in the first round for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they keep a Florida product in Florida in Vernon Hargreaves III. Move on to the second round, 39th overall selection. Eastern Kentucky edge rusher Noah Spence is the selection. Wow, it's funny because when this process first really got underway, when we started talking about the bowl games and all the extracurriculars for the seniors, and this was one of the guys that impressed during that Senior Bowl practice, and a lot of people were really gushing about his explosiveness, and he was the guy to watch. He could be the first edge rusher taken in this draft. And then, of course, all of the noise came out about his past, and you knew that was going to come up. It's not like it was a secret or anything like that. And so I heard that he didn't do as well at the combine on the interviews and things of that nature. But it was funny that this was one of those guys that we talked about tirelessly at the beginning of this process, and he was definitely going to be a first round pick. Then as the process got closer and closer, his name kind of faded and faded from the consciousness, and all of a sudden you didn't hear about Noah Spence being a first round pick, even though he had first round talent. Now, I've already broken him down in the Draft Prospects 101 series, so again, I'm not going to do that here, but with this guy, the only thing that I worry about, I think, again, you got the best pure at that position. Best pure cornerback, you got him in the first round. To me, the best pure pass rusher in this draft, you got him here in the second round. So you're getting the best of two of the most important positions in this league, in this draft, and I feel like that is value that can't be understated. However, for how good he is in the pass game, I think he is lacking in the run game. Now, he can go and jump into the backfield and make some tackles for loss, as we saw him do numerous times at Eastern Kentucky and even at Ohio State before he departed there, but I don't think he can stand up to the point of attack enough. Now, he's got all offseason and he's been working, and I'm thinking that's something that the Buccaneers, and I'm thinking that's why he fell to the second round outside of the off the field transgressions. And maybe it was the transgressions by themselves that saw him fall to the second round, because I feel like with what he brings to the table, if nothing else, this guy can get to the quarterback. The value in just that alone is enough to get you drafted in the first round. And for how good this guy is, I think that would have been enough to get him in the first round, if not for some of the off the field issues. But I don't know if he's a great run stopper or not, but because he is the best, to me, in this draft, pure best pass rusher. Now, there's some other guys with some talent that in time, they can grow to be elite pass rushers, but they aren't there yet. I think this guy's there already. Just looking at that, I kind of tussle back and forth between triple and home run, because you don't stop the run enough for my liking quite yet. But damn it, when you're the best at something, you need to be given the credit that you deserve for being the best. I think he's the best pure pass rusher in this draft right now as packaged going into the league. And so because of that, in the second round, 39th overall selection, Eastern Kentucky edge rusher Noah Spence for me. You can put him on the board! Yes! The home run in the second round, back-to-back jacks as the Buccaneers take 2 out of the yard in the first 2 rounds with 2 of the best players at their respective positions in the first 2 rounds. Vernon Hargreaves III in the first round, followed up by Noah Spence, Eastern Kentucky edge rusher in the second. You go to the second round yet again, and this was a controversial pick, and we're going to talk about it here quickly. 59th overall, Florida State place kicker Roberto Aguayo is the selection. They call him Automatic Aguayo. So 6'1", 204 pounds. Let's jump into his pros and cons, and then we're going to talk about this decision because that's what it all boils down to. I mean, solid leg. Guy's got a solid leg. It's not great to me. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. One of the most prolific kickers in college football history. 88% of his kicks went through the uprights. This man only missed 9 kicks in his collegiate career, but it's not the 9 kicks that he missed. It's when he missed the kicks that I want to talk about a little bit later on. But he was money in the fourth quarter, okay? Didn't miss his first kick in his collegiate career. Remember, we're talking about a junior here. Didn't miss his first kick in his career in the fourth quarter until this past season, his junior season, when it was blocked in the fourth quarter as a game winner versus Georgia Tech. And we'll talk about that one in a bit, and we'll talk about that one in detail. But guy was absolutely money in the fourth quarter, and that's when you make your money in this league. You could be 0 of 2 in the game, but if they send you out there for a 47-yard field goal with time expiring to win the game, and you knock that one home, that's the only kick anybody will be talking about. So the guy was money in the fourth quarter. I like that about him. Kickoff specialist, a guy that you don't have to really worry about having a football run back. But I will say this, with this new rule, we'll see how it goes. I hope they get rid of it after the first year. I expect this rule to have an adverse effect. I think a lot of teams are going to say the 25-yard line, how about we pop this thing up in the air, all right, kick it at the 2-yard line really high, and make this guy field it in the field of play and run it back and tackle him at the 18-yard line, which is what the league doesn't want. They want teams to take the touchback. They want teams to kick it out of the end zone, but the 25-yard line doesn't sound as good as the 20. So I think some teams are going to take some chances if they feel like their special teams unit is good enough to get down there and make a tackle. They're going to pop it up in the air. This is a guy that can not only kick it out of the back of the end zone, but he can also pop it up in the air if you want to go that route as well. So I think he's a kickoff specialist and a weapon there as well. Let's go to the cons though. Okay, these are the problems that I have. If you're going to come up and you're going to spend a second round pick on a kicker. First of all, spending a second round pick on a kicker is taboo. That's number one. Now, again, I'm a huge proponent of guys that put points on the scoreboard. It's not like you came up and got a punter like Jacksonville did like 3 years ago with Anger. It's not like you did that in the third round like the Jacksonville Jaguars did. Now, this is a guy that can put points on the scoreboard. So again, I have a little bit of sympathy there where I'm like, okay, I get it, I understand, because I was one of the people beating the Buccaneers up early in the season when they were missing field goal kicks. And I vividly remember Kyle Brenza blowing a game for you early on in the season. I went on a rant on my podcast, but here's what I said during the breakdown when I was breaking down that game, Texans and Buccaneers. I want to say it was about week 3. So you got Kyle Brenza, field goal kicker that you traded for from the Detroit Lions, knocks home a 58-yard field goal. Very impressive. He goes on to miss 3 field goals and an extra point. Really, bro? That's how you feel it? You're a Golden Domer. You know better than that, man. And I had a lot of choice words with him on my podcast. You need to go check that out. I'm not going to do that here, though. Don't have time for that. But that's not winning football. That's 10 points. Guess how many points you lost by this game? Guess. Just take a guess. That's 10 points right there that the Buccaneers don't get on the scoreboard, and you lose the game by 10 points. That's rough. That's tough to take. So obviously the Buccaneers had issues early in the season with field goal kicking. They felt the need to go trade for Kyle Brenza from the Detroit Lions. It didn't work out. He's a Golden Domer, so I felt bad for Kyle Brenza because, again, I expected big things out of him, and he didn't produce. Another one of these prolific college kickers that came in and didn't do squat in the league. So you gotta watch it when you go out and you go get one of these boys. Now, again, it's not the fact that you spent the second round pick. Mark Jones was doing a game for ESPN, and this is what he had to say about Roberto Aguayo when he was calling the game.
43 yards for the future NFL star kicker, Roberto Aguayo. And that's why there will be NFL general managers that in the second round of the draft will be sitting there going, you know, he's really good.
So it's not like this dude hasn't earned the reputation that he's gained, and this pick status, maybe second round, still a little sweet for me. All right, still a little early, still a little too sweet for my liking and my taste buds, but okay. It's the fact that you traded up to do it. You gave away assets to come get this man. You don't give away assets. But look, let's jump into these comments quickly. This is the reason why I got a problem with it. He struggled in 2015. For all of the good that this man did, for all of the accolades, for all of the automatic Aguayo and all of that stuff, the man missed 4 total kicks in his career in his first 2 years in college football, and he missed 5 alone last season. So you're not getting this guy on an upward trajectory. You're getting this guy when he had his worst season of his collegiate career. Not saying that that's going to affect him, because kickers are like golfers. They're like jump shooters. They're streaky sometimes. You get the right kicker, yeah, he may miss a couple kicks. He may struggle a little bit, but if he's a good kicker, at the end of the day, he'll show his true colors. He'll make the kicks when he's supposed to make the kicks, but he missed 5 kicks last year. This is the biggest problem I got with him, though. Not that he missed 5 kicks, because you can miss 5 kicks, and he was money from the money distance, which is 40 to 49 yards. He was pretty much money in the bank from those distances. My biggest issue is leg strength. You don't trade up for a guy that's lacking in the leg strength department. And I know you ask a lot of people, they'll tell you this guy's got as strong a leg as anybody in the business. I'm gonna look you dead in your eyes and say, are you sure about that? Because I'm not buying what you're selling me. And you know, when I'm not buying what you're selling me, I always ask you, are you sure? I don't believe you. You need more people. I don't believe that this guy's leg is as strong as everybody's telling me. You know why? Because I watched him in that Georgia Tech game. At the very end, when he missed his first fourth quarter field goal. Late in that ball game, scores tied at like 20, and he's got a chance to go out there and I want to say it might have been like 58. I think it was more like 55. Okay, let's call it 55 because I think it was 55. All right. Lord, normally if you're a kicker and you don't have a strong leg, in order to get it to go 55 yards, you got to kick it kind of low. All right. Well, if you got a big leg, guess what? This 55-yarder is nothing to you. So you're going to kick it with the same trajectory that you always kick the football with. Unless they get to it at the line of scrimmage, there's no way they're blocking your kick. Well, this guy comes out, and because I think his leg isn't as strong as everybody's trying to tell me, he tries to kick it on a line drive from 55. And the dude, it wasn't a guy at the line of scrimmage. It was a dude like 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage that just jumped up and said, hey, I'm going to just jump and see if I can get a piece of it. I know I ain't going to get to it. He's automatic Aguayo. I'm going to just jump anyway. And he jumps up and he blocks the kick. 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's not supposed to happen. You know why it happened? Because his leg isn't as strong as everybody's telling me. Got blocked. Georgia Tech scoops it up, runs it back for a touchdown. Florida State loses their first football game in it seemed like ages, or since the bowl game last year. I take that back. But then this is the one that did it for me. This is the one that sealed it for me. All right, you fast forward to the bowl game. All right, final game of his collegiate career against Houston, and he goes out. They're in a dome. They're in a controlled environment. Have you remember that 52-yard field goal? This is nothing, man. Piece of cake, man. This is easy money for automatic Aguayo, right? Right? This man goes out, kicks the football about a yard short of the damn goalpost. Inside, no wind, climate control, and this man can't get it up from 52. What does that say to me? Now, yeah, you go back and watch it and he looked like he slipped. I don't want to hear any goddamn excuses. You traded a goddamn second round pick for this clown, okay? I don't want to hear no damn excuses from 52 yards. You better knock that through the damn uprights with no problem. And he fell down and the ball didn't make it to the damn uprights. I don't care. I don't see the distance, okay? He kicked another one in that game and fell the hell down again. I'm not feeling this dude, okay? For you to trade up all the way in the second round to get a damn kicker that can't knock it home from 52 yards, who got a 55-yarder block because he couldn't kick it on the right trajectory. I worry about this dude and his leg strength. It's nothing to kick a football off. Anybody can kick the football off. Any good kicker, solid kicker can kick the football off with all his power and drill it all the way out of the end zone. But it takes a special type of kicker to use that same power and have the accuracy to match. I'm not saying that this dude doesn't have accuracy because I think he's pretty accurate. Leg strength, okay? You can find an accurate kicker anyway. Sean Sweezum is one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. His ass can't hit a 55-yard field goal. Hell, he can't even hit a 50-yard field goal, okay? My thing is, you don't trade up for a guy that I question his leg strength. I should be gushing over this dude's leg strength. I should be justifying this pick. Instead, I'm scratching my head saying, look, I know you needed a kicker. I understand, all right? I understand your plan, but there are kickers out there that can get the job done. My Redskins, to me, just got one of the best kickers in the league. All right, I love my kicker, and we got him off free agency, off the waiver wire. We got him, and it's a young kicker. Matter of fact, Dustin Hopkins was at Florida State. If you're a Florida State Seminoles fan, you know D-Hop. So all I'm saying is, this was unnecessary. I know you needed a kicker, but you can't be trading away resources. Can't be allocating more than just a selection, but you also gave away selections to come get. Come on, man. What the hell is going on out here? Okay, I wanted to like this pick. I tried to convince myself that the Buccaneers did the right thing here. I couldn't do it. Not when you miss a 52-yarders falling down in a controlled environment. Not when you're getting 55-yarders blocked. Not when I haven't seen the leg. Not when you like 1 of 5 from any kick over 50 yards. You got me thinking. I'm not sure. And in the second round, 59th overall selection, Florida State place kicker Roberto Aguayo for me is a goddamn single, man. What the hell are you doing, Jason? Come on, man. I was on the Jason Light train, and I'm still on it, okay? But damn it, I got 1 foot hanging outside the cart right now. I'm looking like, man, do I need to get off this damn train? What the hell are you doing in the second round, man? A place kicker? Seriously? Don't piss me off, Jason. Don't do it. Go to the 4th round. 108th overall selection. North Carolina Central defensive back Ryan Smith is the selection. This is how you get back in my good graces, by doing smart things like this. 5'11", 189-pound corner. Good agility and speed. His transition from back pedal to full out sprint it's pretty fluid, man. It's smooth, it's flawless. I love it. You got a guy that's running a 4.47 40, so you get the speed attached to the athleticism that you're getting. And I talked about Vernon Hargreaves III and not wasting any motion, and a guy that has a really good technique. Here's another guy that I think is solid technique-wise. Has a couple of things that he needs to clean up. But if you're talking about a guy that has all the attributes of somebody that can be around the football and make some plays, you're talking about Ryan Smith. He tackles well. And this is a guy that had 263 career tackles, left North Carolina Central with a career best, or set the record at North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central career best, 168 solo tackles. This is not a linebacker. This is not a guy that plays safety full time. This is a cornerback we're talking about here. Most tackles in North Carolina Central Eagles history. So you know the man's putting in work as a guy that will go in there, get his hands dirty. I mean, he'll take the gloves off and go get his hands dirty, man. I prefer to keep the gloves on and then just take the gloves off, throw them in the trash when I'm done. This dude's like, man, I'm a real man's man. I'll go in there, get my hands dirty, get blisters all over my hands, cut my hand. I'm all good, man. That's the kind of dirty work this man's willing to do. So love the fact that this guy's willing to get in there, get in the fray and tackle. Versatility. And I think this is what got this man selected here in the 4th round. This is a guy that can play out wide and play that boundary. He can come on and jump into your slot for you. And then this man also played safety. Now, listening to him speak, he says the Buccaneers right now are looking at him as a safety. I don't know how true that is. The man said it from his own lips, so that's what he was told initially. I don't know if they changed their mind or not, but the versatility here, off the charts. I told you he can tackle. So I can see the Buccaneers say, hey, we can use you at the safety position, but bottom line is this guy can play a number of different positions for you. So I love the versatility. If he doesn't work one place, you can move him somewhere else. That's the kind of versatility you got here in Ryan Smith. Always around the ball. And the things that I love about a guy that is always around the ball is, I say this, I don't say it all the time, but I say it enough that you should know this is a fact. And I don't have to tell you this. If you watch football, you know this to be a fact. Good things happen to those who are around the football, man. Just be in the right place at the right time can get you a play in this league. So a guy that's around the ball, good things are going to happen for him. 31 PBUs in his career. That's a huge number of PBUs. 7 INTs and 8 fumble recoveries. That's a huge number of fumble recoveries, okay? I didn't say forced fumbles. I said fumble recoveries. That means this is Johnny on the spot. Ball hits the ground, this guy's scooping it up. So this is a guy that is always around the football. When you're around the football, good things happen to you and for your football team. So this is a guy that finds his way around the action. He's a 3-S'er, man. And what a 3-S'er is he's a small school syndrome guy. And what a small school syndrome guy is a dude that's playing with a chip on his shoulder, okay? They told me I wasn't good enough. They told me that I wasn't good enough to play at a major school. So I had to go to North Carolina Central and work my way up and get my weight up and show these dudes that I belonged, and now I'm a 4th round selection in the NFL draft. So he's got 3S, okay? Small school syndrome. He's playing with that chip on his shoulder. He's trying to prove everybody wrong. And so I love that in guys. The guy that looks at everybody and says, you were wrong as hell, and I'm gonna make sure you know it every time I step on the football field. He's got 3S. We'll see if he's able to take that 3S and transfer it into some good play on the field. Special teams value. This is a guy that also ran back some punts and a couple of kickoffs in his career. So versatile guy there. And again, when you have 168 solo tackles in your career, 263 total, I can also put you on any special teams I like. I know you're going to go down there with that speed and athleticism. I know you're going to go down and make a difference on my teams as well. So he's going to have an impact on your team special teams wise day one. Whether he's returning something or he's a gunner or what may have you, he's going to have an impact on your football team. Cons. I think he needs to do a better job of getting in the hip pocket of wide receivers. I think he does a tremendous job of just being there. I watched him against Duke, and he's running down the field. He's step for step with this receiver. He's right there, but he's not in the hip pocket. He's on top of the receiver now. It's cool to be on top of a receiver if the ball is thrown deep and it's over everybody's head and you want to go track it down. Go get it. Don't wait on the receiver. Go get the football. But when the football is right there, you need to be in that hip pocket, because the thing about it is if you're on top of that receiver and that ball is underthrown, you're not going to be able to respond the way that you need to. If that receiver's already underneath you and it's an underthrown football, all he's got to do is stop, turn, pivot, go up for the football. And on this particular play, Ryan Smith wasn't in the hip pocket. He was actually a step ahead of the receiver. Okay, football slightly underthrown. That receiver says, let me put the brakes on, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put this emergency brake on. Put the emergency up, stop, turn around, went up. Ryan Smith kept going. He wasn't in a position to make the play, even though he was right there. And he was looking, he saw the football. So it's not like he was oblivious as to what was going on. He was right there, but he wasn't in the hip pocket where he was supposed to be. Overran the football. Big play for Duke. So I've seen some things with him where I'm just like, hey man, stay in that hip pocket, baby. Hip to hip. Don't go nowhere else. You right there. You're looking for the football. Attention to detail. You know what's going on, baby. Don't overrun the football. And then he needs to be able to stop and gather. On that particular play, he didn't stop and gather and jump for the football. He couldn't even stop. Because the receiver put the emergency brake on. He couldn't put the brake on fast enough. He didn't even get up. Easy catch. About 40 yards down the field. Can't give that up. So just stay in the hip pocket, baby. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And you're going to make some more plays. And then the last two cons, eye discipline and size. I'm not really big on the size thing. You know how I feel about corners. I talked about this with Vernon Hargraves throughout the process. Since when did 5'11" become small? Now, when I say size, I'm not talking height. 189, a lot of people feel like this guy's frame is frail, okay? He can stand to put on. And if you look at the picture, there's not a lot here with his arms. My arms may be bigger than his. So I feel like he could stand to put on a little bit more weight, a little bit more muscle mass. But 5'11", I think he's got really good size. I'm not worried about him playing out as a boundary if they decide to slide him out there. A lot of people are worried about him because he's not big enough and physical enough to go out there and bang with those boys. And when you got receivers like Michael Thomas, who is now a New Orleans Saints, and Julio Jones, out there in Atlanta, when you banging with these big boys, and we know Carolina, that's all they got is big boys. They got basketball play. You know how it is, because you do basketball on grass. I told you, y'all started the bog movement out there down south. So you know what it's like to have these big boys, and he probably wants to mess with a couple big boys in practice every day. So it's going to help him, but bottom line, some big boys in your division, man. Your division is littered with big boys. Can't have a dude $189 out there scrapping with these 215, 220 pound wide receivers. They're going to toss his little ass around. So we're going to see about that. And eye discipline, every now and again, you get one of these dudes, they get flat-footed on you, eyes not where they're supposed to be at all times, and you get a receiver behind them. There's a play against A&T, okay, in that ball game where his eye discipline led him astray. He's squatting on a route, and he's watching the quarterback. Receiver runs a little bit of a double move, and he sees the double move, and he sees the quarterback in junction with that move, decides he wants to jump this. Pump fake, got him. He turns around, spins, runs back up the field, has the makeup speed to get back in the play and knock the ball down, climb the ladder on a bigger receiver, knock the football away. However, if that football was thrown out there and allowed that receiver to run under it, he was beaten there. Eye discipline, got to see what's going on and not fall for that fake. But if you're talking about versatility, you're talking about this is a guy that has everything you need to make this guy a tremendous defender at the next level. And the only reason that he's a 3S, or the only reason this guy went to a small school, is because he only played football in his senior year of high school. This was a guy that wanted to play basketball. He plays football, realizes, I'm not growing. I'm not going to be 6'5". I'm 5'11". I need to stick with this football thing. And so because of that late blooming, he didn't have a lot of opportunities to play football. This is a guy that I think is really talented. And had he went to a major D1 school, I don't worry about the lack of competition, because his measurables and his skill set and his speed and all of those things, they translate to the next level. So I think this is a guy that you come in, you plug him in, and I think this guy's going to have an impact in his rookie season. 4th round, 108th overall selection. North Carolina Central DB, Ryan Smith, for me is a triple. I think this is a guy that comes in. He's always where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. The question is, can he make more plays? Can he do some of the things, clean up some of the little small tidbits of his game that need to be refined? I think this guy has what you are looking for to come in and make an impact on this Buccaneers defense. You go to the 5th round, 148th overall pick. UCLA offensive lineman Caleb Benenoch is the selection. 6'5", 305-pound offensive lineman. Good length, 34-inch arms. This is a guy that can extend those arms, make some things happen there. And a lot of times with that length, it comes from, a guy that can anchor, maybe recover a little bit. Above average movement skills, 4'9", 840. Do you understand how good that is for a 300-pound man? Sub 540, this guy's picking him up, putting him down. Really saw athlete, because it really baffled me early on, because I'm watching this guy pull him a play, and I'm like, wow, that's impressive. I mean, watch him get out of his stance and got to the second level, and he had a nice kick out block, and I'm like, yo, Khalid, Caleb, that's nice, bro. And then I watched him move laterally, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? You're not moving anywhere near as fast as you did when you went for that kickout block. So the lateral quickness doesn't match up with the athleticism. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but this guy can move. If you ask him to climb to the second level, he can get there in a hurry and make some things happen. So above average movement skills for Caleb Benenoch. He can get to the second level. I just talked about that. This guy, I watched him against Stanford, climb to the second level. I watched him against USC, climb to the second level. I watched him against Arizona, climb to the second level. I watched this guy in a number of games climb to that second level and get to that defender and get a body on him. So this is a guy that can move. So I really like that about him as well. Good recovery against speed rushers. This is at tackle. Now, the reason I say it's at tackle, I'm gonna go ahead and lump it in with this next pro. Versatility. This is a guy that started 26 games at UCLA at tackle and 9 games at guard, and they needed him to start some games at guard. And so this is a guy that had some durability for you. 35 career starts, started at just about every game after that freshman year where he started a few games. Started about every game for the UCLA Bruins. So this is a guy that gives you some versatility here. That can come in and have some durability as well. So I think he's better at tackle than he is at guard. I look at him and I saw him get beat quite a bit at guard, whereas at tackle, even though he's not the fastest guy laterally, that length allows him to recover. And I talked about recovery being one of his attributes. that's a pro for him, he's still allowed to get in there, long arms extend, push that guy around the pocket. So even though his lateral quickness isn't great to be out on an island, I think his best position is tackle for me. I really do. I think he can succeed at the next level. I don't necessarily know if he's a starter or not. I don't see starter material right now. Maybe he can grow into that role, but I do see a guy that has some ability to play some tackle for you. But again, versatility, the more things you can do, the more likely it is you're going to stick on an NFL roster. This guy can play 3 positions for you, both guard positions and right tackle. So I think there's some good here in Caleb Benenoch. You go to his cons. He is the quintessential Mike Mayock dubbed heavy-legged waistbender if I've ever seen one. First thing I thought to myself was heavy-legged waistbender, and that is one of the funniest terms that Mike Mayock has come up with, and I love it because this is the perfect explanation for what this guy is. He's one of those guys that bends at the hip, doesn't move his feet, and I told you his feet are heavy as hell because laterally he doesn't move as quick as the athleticism would indicate. And so this is a guy that will stay right in and stay stationary, bend at the hip, and then try to lunge at a guy, and that's how he'll get beat to the inside, especially at guard. You don't see it as much at tackle. You see it a lot at guard. He gets really lazy at guard, and because he's a heavy-legged waistbender, he lacks lateral quickness. I've already beat that horse. It's dead, so I'm not going to continue to talk about that, but I've already said that. He lacks lateral quickness, and a lot of that has to do with him being a heavy-legged waistbender. And then his last con is he needs more core strength. I think because sometimes he gets lazy, and a lot of the time that I saw him struggle with bull rushes, it was at guard. Once again, not a natural position for him, I don't think. I think when he plays guard, he's doing it for the good of the team, where I think he's much more comfortable at tackle. He was getting bull rushed. Gave up a sack against USC where he literally let the defensive tackle bull rush him into the quarterback, knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hand. USC scooped and scored, and that was the beginning of the end for UCLA. They were in that ball game. Hell, they were leading 21-20, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of that sack, strip, force, fumble, scoop, and score. They were winning the game, and he allowed the guy to pick him up, put him on skates, dump truck him right into the lap of the quarterback. Ball comes out, and USC scoops and scores for about a 40-yard touchdown, takes the lead, never relinquishes the lead again in that game, goes on and runs away with it. So he struggles at guard, needs more core strength. Saw him get bull rushed way too many times, especially for my liking. So I prefer to see this guy tackle over guard, but that versatility is probably another thing that got him drafted in the 5th round, 148th overall selection. UCLA offensive lineman Caleb Benenoch for me is a double. I see potential here. I see a guy that at worst right now is a fringe roster player for you. I don't know if he makes your team initially. You're going to work with this guy. Obviously, he may make your team. He may not make your team right away. Maybe a practice squad guy. He's not going anywhere. If he doesn't make your team, he's probably not going to clear. He's going to clear waivers. You're going to stick him on your practice squad. You're going to work with this guy. Or he may make your team because of the versatility. Can be a swing tackle for you maybe, and play some guards for you. So if he can do that, if he can play 3 out of the 5 positions, 4 out of the 5 positions maybe on the offensive line, I think you'll be comfortable with this guy making your roster because of all the value and depth that he may have for you in the season. Go to the 6th round, 183rd pick overall. Oklahoma linebacker Devontae Bond is the selection. 6'1", 235 pounds. A solid athleticism, and he's solid in space. Talking about a guy that ran a 4.7 40 at his pro day. So this is a guy that can pick him up and put him down. I like him in space. I think there's a little bit of tightness and stiffness with him. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but he's comfortable in space. You can tell he's not a fish out of water when you ask this guy to drop at a 90-degree angle underneath a slant or underneath a comeback. Okay, you can tell he's not a fish out of water when he's running with the running back out of the backfield. So I think he's solid in space, and his athleticism allows him to do that. A little burst off the edge. I think this is a guy that can get a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. Now, he came from a JUCO because he wanted to go and play major college football. Initially, didn't have the grades, had to go to JUCO. Lit it up at JUCO. I mean, man had, in just 7 games, man had 17 sacks. Okay, so there's a little burst off the edge, and you see it in the Tennessee game. He had 2 sacks. Watched him 2 sacks in that game. Thought he did some good things in that Tennessee game, actually. Watched him in the playoff game versus Clemson. I thought he did some good things there. Had a sack in that ball game as well. So you see the athleticism, you see a little bit of that burst, especially in that Tennessee game. I saw the burst off the edge there, created a fumble. They didn't recover, but he was blowing past that tackle and getting to the quarterback. So there's a little bit of a burst there, okay? And I saw him on a couple of TE stunts inside where he was lined up at outside linebacker. They snap the football and he goes inside on some sort of a blitz and attack the A-gap. And I thought he did a tremendous job of getting there. It was real smooth, didn't waste any motion, tight angle, came in unmolested and almost got to the quarterback. We know Joshua Dobbs at Tennessee, pretty athletic guy. So is Deshaun Watson. I saw him making these quarterbacks run away from him. And I thought he did some really good things there. So I think there's a little bit of burst, and versatility is the next pro. And I think you can get a guy that can drop into coverage a little bit. I think you get a guy that's going to blitz a little bit and get to the quarterback. And I think you can line him up at edge rusher in pass situations. If you got a little package where you want to put as many rushers on the field as possible, maybe throw Devontae Bond in the mix and see if you can't get in there as well. So I think there's a little bit of versatility that this guy brings to the table. Drop him into coverage, blitz him a little bit, and you can just line him up as a pure pass rusher and say, hey man, try to go get me a sack. So I think there's a little versatility here, but where this guy's going to make your football team initially, if he's going to make your team, is special teams. He's going to have to come in and be on every special teams you got to have an impact. If not, I don't know if this guy makes your roster right away. So I think he's got a chance, because I think there's some things that you like here in a guy. And last time you went out and got a guy named Devontae, it worked out pretty good for you. So I think he's got a shot. Upside is a final pro. Looking at what he did at JUCO and looking at the small sample size at Oklahoma, you say, man, this guy's got some talent, man. I just didn't see it enough, and I'm going to explain myself here in a second. But there's some upside here. This is a guy that I feel like has some talent. Get with the right coach that's there with him, teaches him the final points of the position, and they give him a clear, defined role at the next level in Tampa. This is a guy I think that can come in, have a nice niche carved out for himself, and do some things for you in this Buccaneers defense. Go to his cons. A little stiff in space, and I talked about that, little tightness in his hips. He's not one of these dudes that just drops into coverage and he just looks fluid and you feel like, man, this guy is comfortable as hell. Get him a pillow, get him a blanket, take your socks off, put your feet up, man, get comfortable. Nah, that's not what he's doing. When he drops at that 90-degree angle, when he's in cover 2 or when he's in cover 3 looking to get out in the flats and drop underneath in that hook zone, he's got to turn around and look at where he's going first. And I hate when linebackers do that, because when you turn your back to the quarterback, that's all that quarterback needs to get that football off, right? So he's one of those dudes that you snap the football and he turns around and he runs, then he turns back around. So I would like to see him just backpedal. Just backpedal into your fit, into your zone. So he's a little stiff. There's a couple of times, one play in the playoff game versus, I want to say it was against Clemson in the playoff game, where he was right there and he knocked the ball away. But had he been just looking the whole time, I don't know if the quarterback even tries to throw it if he's looking the whole time. But you know, sometimes these quarterbacks, they don't actually see these guys. I don't know if he even saw Devontae Bond, and if he had been looking the entire time, he might have picked it off. But because he turned his back, and when he turned the ball around, the ball was right there. All he could do was stick his arm out. He deflected it. So, a little stiff in space, that's all. Made another nice play against Tennessee where he had to dive and deflect the football. You're getting a little something here. He's over-aggressive. I'll give you an example. Playing against Clemson in that playoff game, he's on the short side of the field, so there's not a lot of space between he and the out of bounds. So what you want to do is you want to, first of all, they ran a reverse his way. You want to stay at home. That's number one, which he somewhat did, but he did kind of come down the line and allow himself to get cut. You want to stay inside and play it inside out, because guess what? That sideline is now another defender. If they want to run a reverse to the short side of the field, you pretty much got them bottled up if you play the play correctly. Well, he kind of overcommits, is a little over-aggressive, comes down the line. The tackle is inviting him up the field because he's like, hey, as soon as you come up the field, I'm going to cut you. And so he came up the field, he cut him. Devontae Bond goes flying. And they actually get about 5 yards to the short side of the field. That shouldn't have happened if he would have stayed at home, played his position right, forced him to the outside, help would have been there, out of bounds would have been there. You either get nothing there or you get 1 yard maybe, max. So he can be over aggressive. I saw another play, Deshaun Watson and Clemson's offense trapped in their own 5-yard line, and he comes up the field too wide. The defensive end gets washed down, and all of a sudden you got this big gaping hole, and Deshaun Watson says, "Don't mind if I do, appreciate it." Takes off for about 48 yards, gets the football out to midfield, so he can be over aggressive at times. Just need him to make sure, especially when you're going up against an athletic quarterback, you got to know the rules to the game, man. Keep his ass in the pocket. Don't let him get out. He came up the field like a screaming banshee. Tackle pushed him around. Then the defensive end got washed down, and all of a sudden you got a huge gaping hole for Deshaun Watson to take off to the races. And lacking big-time experience or production. Now, remember I talked about earlier how I felt like small sample size. This is a guy that missed 4 games this year due to an ankle injury. So, first of all, it's not like he just came straight into Oklahoma and played right away. He wanted to go to the U, but he didn't have enough credits to get into their program, so he went to Oklahoma. And in that first year, of course, he didn't start right away. I think he started like the final 4 games of the season, made a little bit of an impact. So he started the next year, but then he got hurt in the middle of the season, missed 4 games. Once you miss some time, it takes you a little bit of time to get your sea legs back under you and get back into the football playing shape and all those things. So this is a guy that you really didn't see enough of to make you comfortable to say, all right, man, I know you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. There's a lot of talent here, but there's not a lot of production, nor is there a lot of game experience at a high level. So those are some things I worry about with him. How does he make this transition, and can he do these things consistently? Because you didn't see it enough on tape. I think there's some talent here, but you want to see it come to fruition. As a wise man once told me, son, your potential is going to get me fired. So we'll see if that potential manifests itself in the form of talent on the field. In the 6th round, 183rd pick, Oklahoma linebacker Devontae Bond for me is a double. There's talent here. There's some value here. This guy can carve out a niche for himself. He's just got to go out and do it on the football field. And it's going to start with him on special teams if he's going to make this football team. Go to the 6th round, 197th overall selection. Northwestern fullback Dan Vitale is the selection. Superback is the pick. 6'1", 239. And what I think I figured out is that at Northwestern, they call all their running backs superbacks. So I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But I just like the idea of this man's nickname being Superback. So we're just going to go with that. But I think they call their running backs Superbacks because they do so many things in the offense. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what the case is. But anyway, he's Superback, goddammit. 6'1", 239. I like this guy. You know what? There's been 3 fullbacks that I can recollect that I've studied in this draft that have been selected. The Chargers took one, and Chris Watt. The Broncos took one that I really like out of Nebraska. His name escapes me at the current moment. And Northwestern fullback Dan Vitale was selected by the Buccaneers. I think I like him the most out of all of these guys. Maybe the Denver Broncos fullback has something to say about that. I think I like him as well, but this Dan Vitale dude does a lot of things. Good straight line athlete, first and foremost. Talking about a guy running a 4.6 40. So in a straight line, this guy can pick him up, put him down. I think you saw that against Ball State. Called a seam route up the seam, got behind the defense, blown coverage. They couldn't catch him from behind. 55 yards later, he's in the end zone, touchdown. So I think there's some good straight line speed here. Got really good hands, man. Solid hands. 135 career catches, 11 touchdowns. Now, I'm telling you right now, he blows all of these other fullbacks in this draft out of the water in that department. Those other dudes, they're okay, but they're okay, but they're not real. As pass catchers, this dude's legit. You throw him the football, Dan Vitale is going to catch that football, make a play for you. 11 touchdowns, so he's smelling the end zone. Had 4 of them, his most in his collegiate career this past year that passed. So you like that. Again, I'm an upward trajectory guy. Once you playing your best football as you enter the league, and he's doing that. Versatile, he can catch the football and he can block. So those other fullbacks that I talked about, their specialty was blocking. And I'm not even a huge fan of Chris Watt out in San Diego as a blocker. I think he has some potential to catch the football. So does the Denver Broncos, but the one that the Broncos got, he can actually run it a little bit and had some really big runs at Nebraska. This guy here, not much of a runner. We're gonna talk about it here in a second, but he can catch, talked about that already, and he can block as well. Now, I love that he can block in 3 different ways. You can wham block this guy. So what they would do at Northwestern is they would line him up offset, which means opposite of where the running back is and opposite of usually where the play is going. So almost like a counter. He would be offset over here, quarterback would be to his left, and running back might be beside him or behind him. And what he would do was, when they would snap the football, he would fake power step outside, come back to the opposite side of the field, and he would ram that guy backside. So the play would probably be going the way where he was standing, but he would take care of that backside defender, or sometimes he'd be the lead blocker, and a lot of times he would be the lead blocker, come back and wham that guy on the backside of the play, open up a hole for the running back. He'd run right behind him. So he would wham block, he would cut block, and that's his favorite block of choice. You give him a chance to block, and you say, hey man, you can use any blocking method you like, he's gonna cut the dude. That's his preferred method of blocking, and head on. He can come in, meet a dude head on, face mask on face mask, put his head down in his chest, and make contact. So he can block in a number of different ways. I like that about him. His cons, limited agility. And I think of the 3 fullbacks I mentioned, the one in Denver has the best agility. He has a little bit of make you miss in him. This dude does not. He catches the football, he's going in a straight line, doesn't have a lot of wiggle or any of that. He's a straight line guy, so he's not gonna make anybody miss. He's a limited athlete, because this guy runs routes. Okay? He can run routes and things like that, but they're not crisp routes. He's not breaking anybody off. You got a good defender and coverage on him. He's not gonna separate from him just off of route running ability. So I think he's limited agility wise. Preferred cutter, and what preferred cutter means is, I told you this already, he prefers the cut block. Well, you can't cut block in every situation. There's certain times where you have the angle or where you're out in space, and a cut block, it's fine, okay? It's actually the best block. But there are times where you just need to go put a hat on a dude. Go meet him up head on and go block him, and he's cutting guys and they're avoiding his block and getting into play. So I'd like to see him not cut as often and try to be more impactful just meeting guys head on. We'll see about that. And he's not much of a runner. That's the final con. 6 career carries in his collegiate career for a fullback, which isn't really dire. I mean, again, if you're on a team that doesn't do a lot of fullback handoffs, doesn't do a lot of dives, what difference does it make anyway? So, but he's just not a guy that's experienced touching the football from a running back perspective. So he's more of a guy you use as a lead blocker, can split him out, send him in motion, can be an H-back, can be a tight end of sorts. So he does a number of things. I like that versatility that he brings to the table. And so he's going to give Jaworski Lane a run for his money. If he is in fact still in Tampa Bay, I believe he is. I think he's going to give him a run for his money as far as being that one and only, that lone fullback on this Buccaneers roster. In the 6th round, 197th overall selection, Northwestern fullback Dan Vitale is a double superback. We'll see what he does and if he's able to crack this Buccaneers roster. So that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2016 NFL Draft. Let's tally up their points quickly. 1st round, 2nd round, back-to-back Jax Vernon-Hargrave III and Noah Spence in the first 2 selections. Second round pick, not one that I was a huge fan of. Place kicker Roberto Aguayo is a single for me. Don't love this selection. Don't love trading up for a kicker in the 2nd round. Not a huge fan of that. And the thing I always ask myself is, were you that afraid that somebody's going to take this guy in the 2nd round and you felt like you needed to trade up? Maybe you had some intel. I don't know. See, I can't sit here and play that game because I don't know. But you really think somebody else is going to take this guy in the 2nd round that you had to trade up and spend a 2nd round? It's not like you were in the back end of the 3rd round. I mean, God, really? What are we doing here, man? 4th round, 108th pick. North Carolina Central defensive back Ryan Smith is a triple. And then for the rest of your draft, 5th round, 6th round, and 6th round, Caleb Benenoch, Devontae Bond, and Dan Vitale. Superback! All doubles, which nets you a doubles bonus. So let's jump into this scoring quickly. 2 home runs, a triple, 3 doubles nets you 1 doubles bonus, and of course that 2nd round single that nets you 20 points. You divide by the 7 selections. It's a 2.86 double for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Easily could have been a triple. And I was a little harsh on that field goal kicker, but come on, man. You traded up. If you didn't trade up for him, if you'd have just taken him with a selection in this draft, I'd have eased up. You traded up. You gave up assets for a kicker. What are we doing here, man? What's the world coming to when we're giving up assets to draft kickers? Not just the selection, but you gave up assets in addition to selecting this field goal kicker. Where they do that at? Obviously in Tampa Bay. So, 2.8 double for the Buccaneers in a draft that happens in the National Football League. What a big deal. Oh, here, the lab, come back and join us at Super Great. And now, with the National Football League. See you next time. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.